So, I'm terrible at recording. It's another day. It's actually Sunday. I've been working on this since Thursday, sort of, a couple hours at a time. But we're moving along, and now I'm working on the coil relocation. So I've got the passenger side. My phone will not let me reverse my camera while I'm recording, which is annoying. Boom, it's reversed. So this is the passenger side bracket basically, and there's a little mount down here. Can't see because it's dark, so it bolts to that, and then the coil packs will hang from it. Ooh, don't drop them. Like this. So basically, said bracket bolts to car, tink tink, and then that bolts to that. Now the driver's side is different, obviously, because the car is different. So it's this bracket, and it bolts. It sits, dude, I'm terrible. So it sits over top, so like that. Doop. And then it bolts down here. There's a little rail right there. That's what that bolts to. Coils. And then I made these brackets to bolt them together. So it's just a piece of threaded rod, 6-inch threaded rod with acorn nuts. And then I bought a piece of round tubing. And I cut spacers, and then I cut some sheet metal and bent these little things over, so now all my coils are fancy schmancy looking. And then I'll powder coat all this black. Coil brackets are done. They're being powder coated at the moment, and next I can start working on my wires and stuff. So that's where we're at. And they're in there cooking. And then I'll put all that back together and get that mounted in the car, and then I can start working on the wires, which I have everything in here. Color cable stuff. So that's coming next. Freshly coated. Let's slap some coils back on them, and then we can slap them in the car. 4 there. 4 there. So now my wires are going to run down up through there and along the underside of the valve cover. I'm going to have to build brackets. So the wires, the plug wires are going to be like this basically. So they each run up. And then I'll build some brackets up to hold the plug wires, and then they'll run down. And then we're going to turn right here and run this way to here. And then my ignition bracket, yeah, because that's a bracket. My ignition coil plug, that guy, I'll have to get an extension plug made. I want to tuck the connector behind the intake because it's big and bulky, and I'd like to just run the wires. So probably run, I don't know if I want to run the ignition wires with the coil wires or the plug wires. If I could even talk, that would probably help. So I can run them with the plug wires and just run them all together, run around the back. Or I can run that down through here and then make a turn right there and come down and meet them, which is probably what I'll do. I'll probably go down the inside of the little valley there on both sides. So I just need to figure out how long to make those and get those done, and then start making plug wires, and the coils are done. It's a matter of waiting on my fittings and slapping on the valve covers. So I started making my own plug wires, and it's not terrible, but the ends can be a real pain. So I just bought a roll of wire, and then over here you have the little crimp ends in your boots for the spark plugs, and then you have your coil boots, and they have a straight crimp end. So that's on a 45. Now these Taylor wires came with this little plastic piece. That is supposed to go inside the end of the wire. It's supposed to go like that to keep the plug wire centered. The problem is after you crimp this little guy to the wire, well, it doesn't fit in there anymore. So we're not using those. So all we're doing is centering the coil wire inside the boot. And it seems to be working. It's a little harder to get on and off, but let's be honest, how hard do you take these on and off? How often do you take them on and off? I'll have a video on kind of how I done these. This is terrible. I'll have a clip on how I done these here in a minute. So we have our wire. We have our poop boot. I don't know why I called it a poop boot, but I did. Try to get a little grease down in there. Grease. Put a little grease on here. Spread it around. It's not near enough grease. Now we're getting somewhere. Now this shit makes your hands really slick, so clean off. And try to straighten this out as you cram it through. And then you can pretty much shove it all the way through. Now that was really hard last time because I was not using grease and I was trying to use soapy water. It wasn't working very well. So then what I like to do is I like to pull this way back and then wipe this off. Because you don't really want the boot greasy on the wire, because you want it to kind of stick to the wire. That way when you pull the plugs off, you don't rip the end of the wire out. So that's that. Strip about that much wire. And I'm just stripping with a razor blade. I'm just kind of rolling it on a table real gently. I've cut a couple all the way through already, so don't do what I did. And then the next thing you do, yes, I'm working on my knees because I don't have anywhere to sit my phone, is you roll this over, and you don't want it to have a hard bend. So you roll it over, bottom facing down, a little bit of overhang. Pro tip is to squeeze just a little so it holds everything. Then you take your crimpers and you slowly crimp. Boink. And these are actually Taylor crimpers. I bought Taylor crimpers because I bought Taylor wires, but they're cheap crimpers for sure. So it takes a couple crimps. Now you got to pull this back through. Soapy water. Fill that boot up. Kind of smear it on that. And it'll be a little hard to get going, but once you get it going, you should be able to get some of that soapy water flowing. And on the coil pack side, I'm going to leave it just about to the end because that's where that one's at. Bingo. Wires are done. Both sides. I still got to build my brackets to mount the wires too. So I'm going to get the covers on real fast. And then I'm going to work on making my brackets so I can keep those plug wires tight to the block.